Hi, welcome to Fantastic Living. I'm your host, Thuy Phan. Today we're going to make a really special dish that is my sister's recipe actually, and one day she just decided to make a squid ink pasta with Gulf shrimp, and it was something that was really delicious and it was so good. She's like, I'll make it again, and I got a chance to eat it and I was like, okay, you have to show me how to make it. So this is her recipe, but we're going to make the squid ink pasta from scratch. And pasta making, once you do it from scratch, you'll never go back to the store-bought kind or the dried one. I mean, you can in a pinch, but it's just so much better when you can make it from scratch, and it doesn't take too much time at all. And if you don't have a pasta attachment to help you roll out the pasta, you can also do it by hand. Obviously, it's not going to be as thin and as uniform, but you can also do it without all the fancy equipment. So what you need for this is about 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then you also need 6 eggs, and it's 2 whole eggs and then 4 egg yolks. So we'll need the egg yolks to really make it kind of a rich pasta. And then you need squid ink, about 4 teaspoons and 1 teaspoon of salt, and that's all you need to get started on the pasta dough. Squid ink is kind of not that easy to find in regular stores. I got mine off of Amazon, but if you go to a specialty food store, you should be able to find it. And it really doesn't have too much of a flavor. It has a little bit of a briny smell and taste to it, but it pairs really well with seafood. And it costs about $15 or so for a small jar, but a little bit goes a long way. So if you were to do the cost analysis, buying this would really in the long run be so much cheaper than if you were to buy it at a specialty store, obviously. So with that, let's get started. What we'll need first is a really clean counter. I have a bench scraper here, or dough scraper. It makes it a little bit easier to kind of lift your dough. If you don't have that, that's okay too. Just a little bit messier, but we're gonna make the well. We need 2 cups of flour. Keep our flour on hand because we'll need it to add, and you can use the bottom of your measuring cup to make the well. But we're going to do 2 whole eggs. The only thing you need to be careful about is if you're using your egg whites for meringue or whipping it up, that there's no egg yolk in it, because any fat in there will keep it from whipping up lightly. To this we'll add about a teaspoon of salt. And now the star of this dish is the squid ink pasta. It is pitch black, or it's super dark. When you open it, you kind of smell a little bit too. It's a little bit briny. I'm gonna do 4 teaspoons of this. I'm gonna add it right in the middle. The great thing about pasta is obviously you can do a lot of different variations of it. This is squid ink because I think squid ink is kind of fancy, right? If you see squid ink pasta at a restaurant, you know it's going to be one of the specialty dishes. But if you did spinach or beets, you can color it naturally and do fun variations of it. So this is where it gets fun and kind of messy, but what you want to do is start mixing squid ink pasta and the yolks and the eggs together, and then you'll slowly pull in the flour on the sides. And if you break your well, it's okay. It's all gonna get incorporated. If you find your pasta dough is too wet, you can add a little bit of extra flour. a little bit at a time. And conversely, if it's too dry, you can spritz water on there. You can also do this in your KitchenAid mixer and have the mixer do the work for you, but I kind of like being able to be hands-on kneading this. You're going to get kind of a wet, shaggy dough from here once you start kneading it. Start to get smooth and glossy, and you kind of want to get the consistency of like Play-Doh. And we start to knead, and basically the way we knead is take the palm or the heel of your hand and then you push it down, turn it 45 degrees, do that again. You keep doing that until all the flour is incorporated and your dough starts to be elastic. I find that this step usually takes me between 5 and 10 minutes. So it is a great workout for your arms. I would say this is kind of like a date night kind of meal. If you're thinking of making a special dinner, it would really wow the significant other. I would say this is pretty much restaurant quality. I think sometimes when you think about making pasta or anything with a dough, it seems a little bit intimidating, but this kind of shows you how easy it is and how doable it is. And a lot of times I feel like things may not be worth the effort, but I think with fresh pasta it is worth it. You can totally taste the difference. Okay, maybe a few more turns and this should be good. Our dough is pretty much ready. You can see it's pretty elastic. Looks like Play-Doh. It's food. So what we're gonna do now is we will wrap this up in saran wrap, tightly wrap it up. We'll let it rest for at least 30 minutes so it allows the gluten to develop. And so we'll give it 30 minutes to rest. If you can do this longer, it's better, but at least 30 minutes. Make sure it's completely wrapped or else it'll dry out where it touches air. And that's the first step, not so hard at all. I'll clean this up and then we'll get to our next step. So now our dough has been resting for about an hour actually, and then we have here our trusty pasta attachments and our trusty stand mixer. Now, I gotta tell you, if you were to get one appliance for your kitchen, I would say the stand mixer is the one that I would recommend because I use it for everything. It has so many uses, but I don't know what it is about these. They last for so long. I've had this for almost 20 years and I'm waiting for it to break down so I can buy a different one, but it still works so well, so it's a good investment. But you can do all sorts of things with it. So now what we'll do is we'll cut this into 4 portions so that we can roll it out, and that will make it a little bit easier for it to roll through our plastic sheet. So first we'll attach this. Make sure it's on tight. Okay, let's put it for action. Over here. Make sure you flour your surface and your rolling pin. Do that. And not only is this delicious, it's actually quite fun. So you want to start slow. Adjust it. We have this on the widest setting, and we're gonna roll it through 3 times. And then after that, we'll roll it out again, and then we'll start cutting it. So each time you put it through, it gets longer and longer. So now we'll fold these, just flatten it out again, and we'll pass it through one more time. So you're folding it in the middle and then there. Pass it through again. 3 times. So now we have our 4 beautiful strands of pasta, and we're going to run it through the fettuccine cutter. So we're going to get a little bit thicker strands. So go slow. And I think this is kind of like magic. I did this with my niece and she was so excited. So cool, right? Just want to make sure you really flour it up. Perfect. How beautiful that is.